All right, Gemini, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March 2015. My name is Athen. So this is a very catalytic month, lots of transformation and change. We have the Uranus Pluto square, the last aspect this month, which is very powerful. This has been the ongoing theme for the past few years. And the fast-moving planets are all going over the Uranus-Pluto square, the Uranus aspect of it, and the South Node, because the South Node has been very close to this aspect over the past few months. Which means, of course, when the Sun goes over the South Node, we have the solar eclipse. So it's eclipse time as well. So very transformative, very powerful. It's about changes. It's about breaking free in many ways. And for you, it's in particularly regarding your work, okay, or career, or anything you're doing on a public level. You've got the South Node transiting that 10th house. You've also got Uranus transiting that 10th house, okay, which has been this ongoing theme with Pluto, which is you guys breaking free through your work, essentially, okay, gaining more excitement, more freedom, allowing your true self to come through this sector of your chart. And I say work, but I mean, anything you're doing of service or in public, in the public sector. So for the past few years, that freedom that's been, wanting to break free, this true self of yours, trying to come through this area, the work, public stuff, has been squaring up to the Pluto transiting your 7th house. So Pluto in the 7th has been you guys taking power when it comes to your relationships, but your interactions with people, more specifically, because Pluto is about taking control. And of course, this doesn't mean taking control of other people. What this means is taking control of yourself in order to embetter your relationships, to help you come across to others in a more compassionate, centered way with more power, so that you can, do this service work or whatever it is that you're doing. You see, these two elements which seem like they square up to each other, on one hand we've got the relationships and wanting to enjoy and interact, and then on the other hand we've got this big picture stuff with the career, but there is no separation actually. Every aspect and every part of the zodiac corresponds and connects. So that's what this is about. It's about seeing the connection between these two elements. So in a nutshell, this month is about taking control of this power of your life, specifically relating to how you relate to others in your relationships, and breaking free from the limitations or things, old notions, old ideas regarding that South Node in your work, career, public 10th house sector. So very powerful, and it starts at the beginning of the month when we have Venus going over that South Node in your 10th house. Okay, Venus recently went in there from towards the end of last month. So you guys are starting to enjoy your work more, okay, or making contacts through your work, but there's connections happening there. Now Venus going over the South Node is wanting to release perhaps some old notions about career and work. And again, this is what this is all about. But the Venus element is signifying is that you want it. And this is how the first part of this month really starts to unfold, is you wanting these changes. And there's motivation and there's optimism, okay? First part of the month. And it starts with that Venus over the South Node. While that's happening on the 1st, we also have Mercury opposite Jupiter, while Jupiter trines up to Uranus of this whole Uranus-Pluto square. So that's where the optimism and excitement is coming, right at the beginning of the month on the 1st. Wanting the change, wanting the excitement, having this optimism too in terms of your achievement, what you can achieve, what you can do in life. And a lot of this has to do with, on this level, in terms of the optimism, it's coming through your 2nd house where Jupiter's been transiting. So Jupiter transiting the 2nd has been showing you that when you feel abundant, when you're grateful for all the abundance that you have in your life, more abundance comes in. But this is a fueling force here. Now Jupiter's still retrograde, okay? So that abundance and things are introverted, okay? And that's why it's about what you feel. And what you have, what you already have within you, is the first step to, obviously, this happening on the external, which might be more abundance coming your way, you see, with the Jupiter in the 2nd. But it starts with this, and it starts with that understanding of your sense of self-value, your sense of self-worth. And I think you guys' sense of self-worth is going to be high in the first part of this month, which is good because it's creating this gateway. Now you want to stay balanced here. You don't want it to be like false optimism, over optimism, because it is in opposition with Mercury. You want to balance this with what you recently discovered about the transformation, the depth of who you are, and the transparency of who you are, because you had Mercury retrograde in your 8th house last month, and you hopefully learned a lot about transparency, opening up, and perhaps some deep things about yourself and about your power in many ways too, perhaps. Okay, so balancing essentially this abundance with what you know about yourself and what you learned recently. It's just a, something we want to balance here because it is an opposition. But in either case, it's positive, it's a gateway, it's very opportunistic. Now that trine up to the Uranus element from Jupiter is again wanting excitement. This is the beginning of the month. We're wanting change. That's what this beginning of this month fuels, is we're just ready for change. This is on a global sense too. This Uranus Pluto square has been, activating individuals throughout the whole world wanting change to their governments and political systems and monetary systems. So of course that's happening too, but within us as individuals is where it starts. And so for you, it's you're wanting to break free, perhaps something limiting you, again, in regarding the 10th house, or how you can gain more freedom through your 10th house. So nice start of the month there. That aspect goes on all the way through the 4th. First 4 days of that optimism, and it stays, because on the 4th then we have Venus going over Uranus and Mars going over the South Node. Now on the 4th is when things start to get more motivational. Okay, Mars, that motivating energy, goes over the South Node in that 10th house, hopefully, if you want to utilize this energy of driving forward, to release a lot of these old belief systems, a lot of these old notions. See, the node, the South Node, is old ideas, old belief systems, concepts, emotions, past life stuff that have been holding us back in regards to, in this sense, your work. So a drive here to do that. Okay, so I highly recommend that you utilize it. Now on the 4th as well, Venus goes over Uranus. So this is wanting that freedom, enjoying that freedom, perhaps enjoying the freedom that brings when we're motivating ourselves. But whatever it is, again, it's setting up the stage here very positively. Then on the 5th, we've got the full moon taking place in Leo in your 3rd house. Okay, so you guys had a new beginning last month with the new moon in your 9th house of your life path. Something new started. Okay, you're off on this new sort of journey. Now it culminates, it comes to an awareness, and it has to do with learning, teaching, your insights, how you see things, your exchanges, communication, okay, and just in general how you view life. That's the 3rd house, how you interact with life and view life on that practical level, and doing things on that practical level as well. And that's always, this expressive thing for you with that Leo energy. Radiating. You guys have Geminis naturally, but with Leo on the cusp of your 3rd house is why you guys are the way that you are. Expressive about ideas and opinions and thoughts. So anyways, activating that, creating a lot of life force energy, and not only is it positive Leo full moon, it's trining up to the Uranus Pluto square. So again, motivational energy pumping into it, you see. On the 8th, we've got Mercury going into Aquarius, which is your 9th house. Okay, so these new beginnings in regards to this life path. Now Mercury there for most of this month is, you're more than likely going to be reflecting on it, thinking about it. Not like a retrograde reflection, just thinking about it. Thinking about the life path, philosophy, your principles. And this is all about contribution for you guys. Your guys' principles are what contribute to the world with the Aquarius energy on the cusp of your 9th house, you see. So anyways, I think those 9th house matters will be on your mind, philosophy, these types of things, and that's good because there's obviously something being learned here from that department. And a good understanding of your life path in general. Now on the 9th, we've got Mars trining up to Jupiter. So this is where that drive then meets the optimistic aspect of Jupiter, okay, on the 9th. All right, so this drive, optimism, it's now being extroverted, it's now open. It's now, much you're feeling probably from putting in this action towards releasing these old things, probably feeling very good about it. okay, and very optimistic about what you can achieve. That's what the Mars trining up to Jupiter is all about. And again, it's involving that 10th house stuff. But it's also involving that second house. Again, that's sort of behind the scenes there with your sense of self-worth. You're feeling it. You're driven by it. That's good. Now, on the 11th is when things start to get real, okay? And this isn't real in a bad way. It's just real as in this is it. It's Judgment Day. It's time to take charge, okay, of these changes in your life. All right, this is it. This is the last aspect. Mars goes over Uranus on the 11th while the Uranus-Pluto transit starts its exact position. Uranus-Pluto square for this month, the last aspect starts on the 11th and goes all the way through the 22nd. So the middle chunk of this month, and it starts with that Mars energy. So what that signifies is putting in that action and that drive to do it, to get it done. You've got the Mars energy there. Use it. This is it. Whatever those changes are. And you know, this is a spiritual thing. And if you don't know exactly what those changes are at this time, that's okay. There's a lot being uncovered this whole month. This whole month is just the beginning of the beginning, okay? Because we have the solar eclipse coming up, which is the beginning of the next 6 months and of a transformational element of our whole lives, really. The eclipses are always very powerful times in our lives of readjustment of our life path. So don't worry about it if you don't know exactly what the changes are. But pay attention around later on in the month. Once we have more of the solar eclipse energy, it will more than likely come to more of a fruition and understanding. Okay, but in either case, you want to get the ball moving this month. Start making those changes. How can you assume more power in your relationships? Again, this is power for you to take charge of your own self, to better yourself. And then through that, it naturally assists relationships. Or if there is some things where maybe someone or people are walking all over you with the Pluto element, this is the time to stand up and have mutual respect with others and with yourself. Enough of that. See, mutual respect is a two-way process. You have to have the respect for yourself. There's so many different ways to slice this. Personally, for everyone, it's going to be different. But if you step into that power to make these changes in regarding your relationships and to free yourself from limitations of your work, and so that you can be free through your work and career, then you're getting that ball moving, and that's exactly what you want to do. Then on the 12th, this is where we can really start to enjoy this ball being moved, because Venus goes into Aries, okay? And this is your 11th house. Now this is the first of the fast-moving planets to leave your 10th house and go into your 11th house. And the 11th house, with so much emphasis on your 10th house, I would read it as you're enjoying giving through your work. You're enjoying the satisfaction of your work. There's an opportunity here. And I think whatever these changes are, you're starting to see the enjoyment that can be had through work. And of course, that enjoyment is by giving. That is the ultimate satisfaction. If you ask people who are really satisfied with what they do for a living, they'll tell you it's because it gives back, because it contributes in some way. It makes a change. So Venus there in that 11th house for the rest of this month is an enjoyment of being of service, giving, or at the very least just enjoying your work in general. And that's forming the sort of foundation for the whole month of you guys enjoying the satisfaction you're gaining from your work, you see. So very nice energy there, enjoying taking charge, enjoying moving forward to enjoy. Enjoying moving forward to enjoy, in essence. Now on the 14th, we've got Saturn going retrograde in Scorpio, which is your 6th house. Okay, so this is a little separate thing going on, but not really, because Saturn recently went into your 6th house of work, routine, taking care of the day-to-day stuff, making sure you are constantly improving. Okay, that's what Saturn in the 6th house has been showing you, is going to continue to show you for about the next 2 years. So continue to put in that self-improvement while this is happening. Of course, that's just the underlying tone here. However, he goes retrograde on the 14th, which suggests learning about it, reflecting on it. Okay, this is the first retrograde position of Saturn since he went into Scorpio. So reflecting on how the health, the routine, the day-to-day stuff is going for you. Okay, that's from the 14th onward. And I think, again, it has a lot to do with these shifts that are happening this month, you see, in regards to your work. Now, on the 14th as well, we've got the Sun going into Pisces, your 10th house. Okay, now this is where the Sun goes to meet up with all this activity regarding the work, the career, and this type of stuff. Okay, and this is an awareness. Okay, Pisces rules your 12th house. So you naturally, you naturally want to give through your work. Okay, that's the Pisces energy ruling the 10th house. Now with the sun going over here, you can see that. It's illuminating your spiritual self, the enjoyment perhaps through your work, but the enjoyment of you contributing and giving back. And a lot of other things too in regards to your psyche, perhaps these things that are holding you back in regards to your work. So on the 14th, the middle of the month here, that's when things start to shift in terms of there is a greater and greater conscious awareness of what these limitations are, what these subconscious things are, these spiritual elements at work here, behind the scenes elements. And it starts with the sun entering that 10th house on the 14th, an awareness of that. Okay. Then on the 18th, Mercury, the planet of understanding, goes over that Neptune. Okay? Now that Neptune is in your 9th house, so this has to do with your life path. So you guys are going with the flow, all right? Or at least should be with that Neptune in the 9th, right? Because Neptune in the 9th is saying, look, you don't know exactly where your life is going, what the life path is. Okay? You just have to go with the flow and surrender. So that Mercury going over that is perhaps an opportunity to understand something about that. Understand a little bit more about what spiritual freedom means when it comes to the life path. But in either case, Mercury over Neptune is a spiritual understanding. So perhaps there's a little piece of the puzzle there as well. Then on the 20th, we have that solar eclipse. Like I said, around this time, you want to use it as a reflective period to see exactly what these unconscious elements are at work, what these spiritual elements are at work regarding your work. Paying attention to that around the 20th, and that's the end of the exact period of that Uranus Pluto square, okay, on the 22nd, around that time. So this solar eclipse is a new moon energy. The energies are subtle, they're a beginning. It's again a beginning for the next 6 months and beyond. So laying the foundation slowly as the end of the month progresses, but then definitely into April. Once that solar eclipse energy starts to illuminate in that lunar cycle. That's in Pisces, okay? So like I said, there is things going on that we're going to understand or can understand about ourselves on a deep level at this time. Now on the 23rd, we've got Mars going into Aries, all right, that 11th house, and now this is the second of the fast-moving planets to enter the 11th house of the enjoyment through your work, okay? So perhaps being motivated, wanting to change, wanting to take charge of enjoying your work, and also, of course, contributing, which is the enjoyment, you see. So wanting to be of service, perhaps wanting to get active in the community, wanting to get active in some sort of global or local sense in regards to the major shifts happening in the world. And that's taking you into April as well. On the 27th, we've got Mercury going into Pisces, your 10th house, where I think even more understanding of not only the spiritual elements of life, but of your work and career, okay? So this whole thing is unfolding with more and more insight. And the insight isn't even done by the end of this month. The insight continues into April. You see more and more understanding of this stuff. But it is a time of taking action, all right, and getting that ball moving, because that's how it is. Once we take the initial step, we take that initial action, then the ball starts moving, and then we start to realize much more through the experience and through the process of it. That's a lot like what this looks like in the astrology. Now the last aspect of the month, we've got the sun conjuncting up to the South Node in Pisces, again illuminating, and in this sense illuminating perhaps some of those things that were holding you back in regards to the work, or those old notions, old belief systems that hopefully are being released, and you're allowing them to be released. All right, Gemini, have a fantastic month. I want to thank you all very much for all of your support. Let me know if you have any questions. Get in touch if you'd like a personal reading. Do check out the weekly horoscopes for this week and the dailies as well. And have a great month. Thanks for watching.